Hello. You can see it's nothing here. Just so I'll let you guys know, anyone who comes to see this video, what's it like in Melbourne at the moment? Oh, you got nothing to look at. Well, Melbourne is at war. We have police shooting unarmed civilians regularly, pepper spraying. Journalists are being arrested, people being bashed by cops and all those things. It's war. Where we can't go outside of 5 kilometres from our homes. Most of all businesses are shut down. We have curfews. You got cops everywhere. You need to have permits by your employer to actually be out on the roads. And if you're outside of 5 kilometres of your home, you're going to be police doing plate recognition, and they get pulled over. And as I saw just recently, a man pulled out of his car. It wasn't me, it was somebody else. Well, he had his son in the car. The whole Melbourne Metro, even though they say the Iron Ring's gone, it's really not. We can't travel into Melbourne Metro, can't leave Melbourne Metro, otherwise you're going to be arrested, $5,000 fines. Basically, if everything's $5,000 fine, if you're not wearing a mask, $5,000 fine. If you don't have a reason for being somewhere, $5,000 fine. You're outside your 5 kilometre range, $5,000 fine. You're out after curfew, $5,000 fine. You're not allowed to visit family, not allowed to visit friends, you're not allowed to visit anybody. You're only allowed to stay at home. You're probably hearing, if you watch the video, news out of Canada. Well, apparently Canada's a hell of a lot better than what is in Melbourne. Yeah, news reporters are being beaten up, as I've seen on the news, some news reports. Yeah, some journalists have been bashed up by the police, I've seen, and the pepper sprayed, tear gas, rubber bullets. Melbourne is a war zone. There are people who want to get the heck out of Melbourne, but we can't. We can't get out. We mandated, basically a lot of places you can't go anymore. You get mandatory vaccinations are getting ready, a big push on mandatory vaccinations. So no jab, no double jab, no jobs. Yeah. I hope you guys are safe wherever you guys are. We're in a war zone here. There's so much we're not allowed to say. There is so much we can't say. Like, for example, the laws are we've been locked down in Melbourne basically for over 12 months. We haven't been able to leave Melbourne. Over a year ago or so, we had family and friends who wanted to go to Queensland, and they've had to cancel that one, and we haven't been able to get to Queensland since. There's a whole bunch of we had family members who want to go to Queensland. We had friends who wanted to go over to Queensland. Nobody could. We've been locked down, and borders going up so much that we've all had to cancel those plans. And it looks like now we can't get across without vaccine passports and all that sort of thing. But even if you did, you're still not allowed to. You're still not allowed to cross any borders. Even if you've been vaccinated, we've got what they call vaccine certificates, vaccine passports. And even if you got double jab, they're actually looking at triple jabs. Triple and 4 jabs, and they're talking about maybe up to even more, 5, 6, 7 jabs. And it sounds ridiculous, but actually, it is actually not ridiculous. That's what they're looking at. So double jab. The double jab people talking about doing 3 and 4 jabs. We they're actually coming. They're creating a 2-class system here. That, as our premiers have stated, that if those of you who have not been double jabbed will be, well, basically what he said is you won't be able to buy or sell. You won't be allowed in public. So if you haven't been vaccinated, you're not allowed in public. You have to stay at home. That's basically their words. Unvaccinated people cannot leave home. They're going to be forced to stay at home, and they can't buy or sell. That's what they've been saying. Yeah, and like I say, on the streets there've been protests. There were a few peaceful protests, but the police, the media is saying they were violent. But the only violence is when the police came and started shooting at them, throwing tear gas and macing them. Mace can be they got super shooter maces that can shoot about 9 meters. I've seen them shooting quite large distances. It's crazy. I'm sorry you got nothing to look at, but yeah. So people would love to get out of Melbourne. They really would, but there's no way of getting out because if you're outside, the police are using license plate recognition, and if it beeps up that you're outside of your 5 kilometres from where the car is registered, you'll be pulled up, and if you'll be arrested, fined $5,000, and potentially imprisoned. And it's a prisonable offence. It means you go to jail. You don't just get fined; you go to jail. A lot of these break any of these penalties. A lot of the penalties is jail. We can't get out of Victoria. We can't get out of Melbourne. Oh, crikey. There's so many. If you're hearing anything on the news, it's more worse than what it is. Yeah, if you watch there's like I said, we have. If there's like 1,000 cops, that's an understatement. I mean, the streets are patrolled with thousands of cops. I mean, there's just cops everywhere. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much cops there are in fully combat gear, and everything. They got their guns, they're shooting, they got their mace, they got their batons, they're chasing down pedestrians and belting them up. I don't know how much I can actually say without being, if anyone knows how to help Victoria, pray for them. If you've got family or friends in Melbourne Metro, pray for them. You can help them out. They need help. Yeah. Actually, no, don't. I take that back because I can't say that. I can't because under the laws, I'm not actually. I take that back. Don't pray for them. I can't by law. I cannot say pray for them. Otherwise, it's another fine under the law. So that's because the laws. I should say don't pray for them. Sorry, because I can't say that lawfully. Otherwise, I'll get. That'll be that's another jail term. If I were to say, pray for that person, if I were to say, please pray for that one, you go to jail. That's a criminal offence in Victoria at the moment. No, I'm not kidding. I looked it up. We do have those laws here where if one person were to say to somebody else, say that if this one person is praying for someone for whatever reason, that person who does the praying will go to jail. Yeah, churches are closed. You can't go to churches. They're locked up. And a lot of things are being locked up. Sorry I haven't given you anything here to look for. If anyone knows what to do with this, I've got 2 of them. I've been wearing these for a very long time. This one was originally worn by somebody else. If you know what to do with this one, it's basically my missus divorced me. I've been weighing that and hope one day that it might be, I don't know what to. I can't say pray for us. I don't know if I can say keep us in our thoughts. Just prior to lockdown, 67,000 Victorians left Melbourne just prior to lockdowns. They left into regional Victoria and other parts of Australia. Yeah, we cannot get out of. If we went to, for example, if we went to Queensland, we'd be in jail. It's a reasonable offence for Victorians to be in Queensland. It's jail, plus you get about a $20,000 fine. That's from my last time I recall. It may have changed from now, but it was the last time I heard it was a $20,000 fine and jail if a Victorian is in Queensland. Victorian in South Australia, that's also jail. So you can't, because I heard a story a couple of months ago about two Victorians that were in New South Australia. They got jailed because they were Victorians in South Australia. I don't know if the border fine's still there because there was before a fine. I don't know if it's because it was there last year. I think it was in 2020. If you cross the Victoria New South Wales border, there's $5,000 fine. But I don't know if that's still there or not. So don't quote me on that one. Basically, Victoria's at war. Melbourne's at war. Melbourne is at war. You watch the news, and people had heart conditions, have been knocked to the ground. I've seen those things, and it's not always what you see and hear on the media. This is, it's basically, you'd never think this would happen in Melbourne. You'd never think this would happen in Australia. You'd see this in other countries, like where they've got war zones. But you would never think this in Melbourne, never think this in Australia. But it's basically got people where if you don't follow the status quo or what's being propagated in the mainstream, you will be ostracized big time. Oh my gosh, you can't. You're going to be called a hate speeches, false, false information, and all that sort of stuff. So if you speak anything against the standard narrative of what's being publicated in the media, you are so ostracized you wouldn't believe. We have last statistical report. I saw some stats before that 66% are in favour of losing freedoms for security. So they want to get that. And I'll read that. There's statistics. I can't remember where I found it. I saw them before, and I've been looking at so many stats. 66% of this particular people who are polled believe that they support removing of freedoms for security, and I think it was about the same to mandatory vaccinations, that you got to be enforced vaccinations. So whether you want them or not, they at least around 66% are in favour of mandating vaccines. Whether you're a religious belief or not, whether you've got social conscience about it or not, whether you conscience objective or not, or whether you're anti-vaxxer or not, or whether you're concerned about the side effects or not, or whether you just want to wait and see what happens, see what the other people affected by it, because statistically there's a lot of 66% people that say no, just mandatory that they've got to get vaccinated. Otherwise, you will not be able to buy. You will not, and they want to introduce that into law once they get to 70 or 80% vaccinated. I think they're going to try and get into law, whatever it is, that once they get their number of fully vaccinated, that those who are not vaccinated, whether it's whether you can't get vaccinated or choose not to be vaccinated, you will totally be cut off from society. You can't buy, you can't sell, you cannot be in public. That's not my words. There was actually words from Daniel Andrews where he's basically saying the only thing you can do for the unvaccinated is you have to stay in your home. You can't leave your home if you're unvaccinated. And yeah, Victoria, they say it's the place to be, or Victoria on the move, as you see on the license plates. It's a war zone, and if you don't follow the status quo of what you see in the mainstream media, you're basically classified an outside enemy, and you'll be targeted. So we have to be very careful what we say. We have to be very careful what we say. So I'm not gonna. I don't want to say anything. Hopefully I haven't said anything I shouldn't have. I just want to let you guys know what it is that where Melbourne's at war. There's a lot of protests from different groups, and there's always police there. Oh, there's a lot of police. Oh, and we always have helicopters in the skies. We're always being patrolled by the police helicopters in the skies, doing loops, quite literally loops around and around and around and around and around suburbs at a time, and then they move on to another suburb, go around and around and around and around 6, 8, 10, 12 times, whatever it is, or at least 6 to 8 times. I don't want to be led as misleading information, but quite a lot of times they're going around and around and around and around and around the suburbs. So you got police helicopters in a variety of different places around Melbourne Metro, all different times of the day. I mean, it's almost like there's not a time where we don't have. Well, I think I say that because every time I've looked, there's always been helicopters in the skies, police helicopters. North, over in the northeast, east, southeast, northwest, so forth. Yeah, it's a lot of helicopters, police helicopters. Keep safe, people. Keep safe. Thinking about you guys, wherever you guys are. There's so much we would love to be able to say, but we can't for legal reasons. If anyone knows what to do with this one, I'm going to be keeping this one on. But what do we do with this one? Yeah, that's the one because my missus is divorced me. What do we do with that one? I'll still keep this one on. But what do we do with that one? I'll still keep this one, but what do I do with that one? If anyone knows anything to help Victoria out of the mess we are. Daniel Andrews is the leader at the moment. At the moment it's the 20th of September 2021. Hopefully it's a good day for some. It's a special day for others. A very special day for some people. Not so special for others. Well, hope you all stay safe and think about us here in Melbourne, because we're thinking about you. Stay safe and well.